nursing calculations, finding the volume required, defining the formula and understanding the formula. The volume required formula combines two key sorts of values. Firstly, there are the values for drug strength. Think of that as the mass of the drug. The more of the drug you have, the stronger the dose is. The amount of medication, which is often in powder form in its original state, gives an indication of the dosage. Mass is measured in units such as kilograms or grams, but of course in medication, this is more likely to be in milligrams or micrograms. Another way to measure the amount of mass of a medication is units. That is, there is an alternative to milligrams or micrograms, and it's called units. The other value that the formula uses is volume. Volume measures the amount of liquid. For example, a bottle contains 1 litre of water or 600 ml of juice. Litres, millilitres and microlitres are units of volume. A certain amount of drug, 100 milligrams for example, can be diluted to any number of volumes. You might put 100 milligrams of drug into a 1 ml of liquid for an intravenous injection, or you might put 100 milligrams of drug into a 500 ml bag of saline, which will be infused into a patient over a period of hours. The milligrams indicates the amount of the drug that the patient receives. The millilitres then indicates the volume of the liquid. The milligrams per ml indicate the concentration of the solution. Milligrams per ml is the unit for the concentration of the solution. A few milligrams put into a small volume of mils creates a high concentration. A few milligrams put into a large volume creates a low concentration. So, with this formula, you are seeking the volume required. You want to know how much of the medication solution you should give to the patient. This depends on the strength required, which is how many milligrams or micrograms of the drug the patient must be given. The stock strength is how many milligrams or micrograms of the drug there are in the original bottle, or ampule, or capsule. And finally, the stock volume tells us how much liquid is in the original bottle, or ampule, or capsule. All in all, what we are finding is the proportion of the drug we need out of what we have available to begin with. And that is the proportion or the fraction that we want out of the original stock bottle of liquid. Put simply, if we only need half of the drug that is available in the bottle, then we only need half of the liquid solution that it comes in. When preparing a medication of a prescribed strength, you need to know how much of the liquid solution you need to draw up. The volume of the solution required can be calculated using this formula, using the strength of the drug required, the strength available, and finding the volume that is available in the stock bottle, vial, or ampule. And it can be written in the abbreviated form like this. It is useful, though, to understand why the formula has this shape. The formula is helpful, but what is more important is the logic behind the formula. And if you understand that for simple calculations, you may not need to rely on the formula. Here's a sample problem to solve. The doctor has ordered 25 milligrams of drugafloxacin. This drug is available in solution form, and there is 100 milligrams of the drug in 120 ml of liquid solution in the vial. Now, thinking about this first, we only need 25 out of the available 100 milligrams. That is 1/4 of the strength. We need 1/4 or 1/4 of the available solution. So, consequently, we only need 1/4 of the liquid that it comes in. 1/4 of 120 ml is 30 ml. Let's demonstrate this. So, the fraction of the drug needed out of what is available is the same as the fraction of the volume needed out of what is available. And now for some clever algebra. If we want to get the volume required on one side of the equal sign on its own, then we can multiply that side with the stock volume. But we must do this to both sides if we want to keep the equation balanced. And why did we do this? This gives us the opportunity to cancel the stock volume on the left-hand side of the equation, and there we have the equation in the form we normally see it. This is the form that is most useful for finding the value of the volume required, but the important message behind it is that whatever fraction you need out of the available drug strength, that is the same fraction you need out of the available volume of the medication solution. The volume required is what we are looking for. The strength required is 25 milligrams, and the stock strength is 100 milligrams. Let's finish by substituting into the formula, and the stock volume is 120 mils. Now, milligrams and milligrams cancel. 25 and 100 can cancel. 25 goes into 25 once and into 100 4 times. There is your quarter. Now we want a quarter of the 120 mils. We can cancel the 4 with the 120. 4 goes into 120 30 times. The remaining unit is mils. The volume required is 30 mils. In the next chapter, we will be looking at part 2 of nursing calculations, calculating from the labels.